Pascagoula, Mississippi, a town where the air hung heavy with the scent of salt and pine, a place where the rhythm of life moved to the ebb and flow of the tides. In the 1970s, Pascagoula was a world away from bustling metropolises, a place where time seemed to drift along at its own leisurely pace. Life in Pascagoula revolved around the water. The town was a hub for shipbuilding, but beneath the surface there were whispers of something strange, tales of strange lights in the sky circulated among the locals. And in the fall of 1973, Pascagoula became the epicenter of a baffling UFO encounter. Calvin Parker was a young man of simple means and even simpler dreams. Born and raised in the rural South, he worked with his hands. He was a shipyard worker, his days filled with the clang of metal. A man of deep faith, Parker found solace in prayer. Charles Hickson had seen life's ups and downs. A Navy veteran, he had witnessed the horrors of war. He settled in Pascagoula, seeking peace by the river. Hickson's weathered hands bore the scars of a life well lived. Despite differences, Parker and Hickson shared a deep bond. Their handshake was as good as any contract. They often fished by the Pascagoula River, finding peace. In the twilight hour, their lives took an unexpected turn. The Pascagoula River was more than just a body of water. It was a lifeblood and a constant companion. Its muddy waters reflected the sky in shades of blue and gray, often broken by a leaping fish or a passing boat. The air was thick with the smell of salt marsh and magnolia blossoms, a sensory tapestry of the town's deep connection to nature. For generations, the river provided for the people of Pascagoula. Its bounty of shrimp, crabs, and fish sustained families and fueled the local economy. The rhythmic chug of shrimp boats at dawn was part of the town's identity. The river was a place of work and sustenance, but also a place of peace and tranquility. Families gathered on its banks, sharing picnic lunches. Children splashed in the shallows, their laughter echoing across the water. Parents cast fishing lines and shared stories. The river was a place where time seemed to slow down, a place where the cares of the world faded into the background, replaced by the simple pleasures of nature's embrace. For men like Calvin Parker and Charles Hickson, the river held a particular allure. It was a place where they could escape the noise and demands of their workday lives, a place where they could find solace in the quiet companionship of each other and the gentle rhythms of the natural world. Little did they know that their peaceful sanctuary was about to become the setting for an event so extraordinary, so utterly unbelievable, that it would challenge their perceptions of reality and leave an indelible mark on their lives forever. The evening of October 11th, 1973, began like countless others in Pascagoula. The sun, a fiery orb sinking towards the horizon, cast long shadows across the shipyard. Parker and Hickson drove to their usual fishing spot, falling into easy conversation. The river mirrored the fading light, a tapestry of orange, purple, and deep blue. Little did they know their peaceful haven was about to be invaded by something unimaginable. Parker and Hickson scanned the sky, searching for the source of the intensifying hum. The stars dimmed, obscured by an unseen veil. A blinding blue light erupted from behind the tree line. They saw a large oval-shaped object hovering above the water. The object, smooth and featureless, emitted a low hum. It began a slow descent towards the riverbank. The air crackled with static electricity. As the object drew closer, a section of his side seemed to shimmer and dissolve, revealing an opening bathed in a soft white light. 3 figures, humanoid in form, but utterly alien in appearance, emerged from the craft. 2 of the beings approached Parker and Hickson, their movements fluid and silent. One of the creatures extended a long, slender arm, its claw-like hand reaching towards Parker. He felt a tingling sensation spread through his body, a feeling of being completely drained. Floating weightlessly towards the open hatch of the craft, Parker and Hickson felt a strange sense of detachment, as if they were observing the scene from outside their own bodies. The air inside the craft was cool and dry, filled with a faint humming sound that seemed to resonate deep within their skulls. They were deposited gently on a smooth metallic surface that felt strangely warm to the touch. The interior of the craft was dimly lit, the only source of illumination coming from a series of glowing panels that lined the walls. Strange symbols, indecipherable to their human eyes, flickered across the panels, conveying a sense of advanced technology that was both awe-inspiring and terrifying. The air was filled with a faint metallic odor, and a low hum, like the purring of a giant cat, vibrated through the floor. The beings, their movements graceful and silent, moved around them, their long, claw-like fingers tracing patterns in the air. Parker felt a cold, circular object pressed against his back, and a tingling sensation spread through his body. It was not painful, but deeply unsettling, a violation of his personal space that sent shivers down his spine. Hickson, his eyes darting back and forth, tried to make sense of their surroundings, to find some logical explanation for the nightmare they were living. But his rational mind, his years of experience in the Navy, his belief in the natural order of things, all crumbled in the face of this impossible reality. They were completely at the mercy of these strange creatures, their fate uncertain, their future unknown. The tranquility of Pascagoula was shattered. News spread like wildfire, carried on whispers and radio announcers. Parker and Hickson found themselves at the epicenter of a media storm. Reporters flooded Pascagoula, eager for a story. The town became a chaotic circus of cameras and microphones. Hickson and Parker were bombarded with questions. The media seemed more interested in crafting a narrative. The story was picked up by national and international news outlets. Pascagoula became synonymous with alien encounters. Images of Parker and Hickson were splashed across newspapers and TV screens. Their story fueled imaginations and sparked debates. The sheer volume of attention was overwhelming. The relentless questioning and scrutiny took a toll on their well-being. They had gone from ordinary men to reluctant celebrities. As the media frenzy reached a fever pitch, skeptics emerged, eager to debunk the Pascagoula encounter as a hoax or delusion. Armchair experts, armed with cynicism, offered condescending alternative explanations. Some suggested Parker and Hickson mistook a weather balloon or military aircraft for an alien spacecraft. Others posited the men fabricated the story for fame and fortune. Still, others suggested a shared delusion due to stress or sleep deprivation. The Pascagoula encounter divided the town into believers and skeptics, each with their own interpretation of the events. It became a constant topic of conversation, debated at church socials, diners, and barbecues. Believers, often friends of Parker and Hickson, rallied around them, offering support. They argued the men had no reason to lie. The genuine fear and trauma in their eyes were seen as evidence. Skeptics struggled to accept the story, preferring earthly explanations. They whispered about a possible hoax, questioning motives. Doubt took root, fueled by skepticism and reluctance to accept the unknown. The encounter, once a shared experience, became a source of division and mistrust. Friendships strained, families argued, and the town's social fabric began to fray. The news of the Pascagoula encounter eventually reached Washington, D.C., landing on the desks of officials tasked with investigating such unusual incidents. The Air Force, engaged in Project Blue Book, found itself drawn into the drama in rural Mississippi. Their involvement was marked by reluctance, fulfilling an obligation rather than pursuing a genuine inquiry. The investigation seemed designed more to manage public fascination than to uncover the truth. Agents arrived in Pascagoula with skepticism, often showing disdain for the witnesses. Parker and Hickson were subjected to hours of interrogation, their every word scrutinized. The Air Force's final report was ambiguous, concluding there was no evidence of extraterrestrial origin or threat to national security. The case was closed, relegated to the archives of unexplained phenomena. The Air Force's dismissal of the Pascagoula encounter did little to quell public fascination or satisfy those who believed the government knew more. Critics argued it was another government cover-up to prevent mass panic and protect the status quo. Rumors of agents confiscating evidence and intimidating witnesses fueled suspicions. Whispers of secret programs studying UFOs added to the belief that the truth was being concealed. The Air Force denied wrongdoing, claiming a thorough investigation. They cited lack of physical evidence and subjective eyewitness accounts. The case remained an unsolved mystery, one of many puzzling investigators for decades. The Pascagoula encounter, regardless of whether one believed in the witnesses' claims or dismissed them as a hoax or a delusion, exposed a fundamental tension between the government's desire to control information and the public's right to know. The case highlighted the challenges of investigating and interpreting events that defied easy categorization, events that seemed to straddle the line between the known and the unknown, the possible and the impossible. In the years since the Pascagoula encounter, the debate over government transparency regarding UFO sightings has only intensified. The release of previously classified documents, coupled with the testimony of former government officials, has provided tantalizing glimpses into what may have been known or suspected about UFO phenomena at the highest levels of government. The Pascagoula encounter, once a local curiosity, has become a touchstone for broader discussions about the nature of belief, the limits of human perception, and the possibility that we are not alone in the universe. It serves as a reminder that there are still mysteries in the world that defy easy explanation, mysteries that challenge our assumptions and force us to confront the limits of our understanding. The shadow of official secrecy continues to hang over the Pascagoula encounter, and the truth, as is often the case with such extraordinary claims, remains elusive. Whether the incident was a genuine encounter with extraterrestrial beings, a case of mistaken identity, or a carefully crafted hoax, it continues to capture the imagination, fuel speculation, and remind us that there are still wonders in the universe that we may never fully comprehend. The immediate aftermath of the encounter was a blur for Parker and Hickson. Thrust from anonymity into the national spotlight, they grappled with the memory and the toll it took. The encounter left no visible wounds but tremors, nightmares, and lingering fear. Both men reported physical ailments that defied explanation. Hickson had headaches, nausea, and ringing in his ears. Parker suffered from insomnia, nightmares, and loss of appetite. Their families watched with concern as the men seemed to slip away. The psychological trauma was more severe than the physical symptoms. Flashbacks and intrusive memories disrupted their thoughts. Their once comforting routines now felt alien and disorienting. The shipyard now seemed filled with unseen eyes, every clang a reminder. Sleep offered no escape, haunted by the being's claw-like fingers. Desperate for answers, Parker and Hickson submitted to medical and psychological evaluations. Doctors found no physical anomalies. Psychiatrists were divided, some suggesting shared delusion, others considering extraordinary experiences. The medical and psychological evaluations highlighted the lasting impact of the Pascagoula encounter on Parker and Hickson. Their lives were forever altered by the events of that October night. The trauma manifested in myriad ways. Both men experienced vivid flashbacks and nightmares. The world now seemed fraught with unseen dangers. Media sensationalism compounded their trauma. They were labeled as eccentrics and hoaxers. The scrutiny took a toll on their relationships and careers. It was a life-altering event with no easy answers. The road to healing for Parker and Hickson was long and arduous, marked by setbacks and breakthroughs, moments of despair and glimmers of hope. They found solace in the unwavering support of their families, the steadfast belief of those closest to them, serving as a much-needed anchor in a sea of doubt and uncertainty. They drew strength from their faith, finding comfort in the belief that they were not alone in their suffering, that a higher power understood their pain and offered the promise of eventual peace. Over time, the sharp edges of their trauma gradually softened, the nightmares less frequent, the flashbacks less intense. They learned to navigate the world with their newfound awareness, their perceptions forever altered by their glimpse into the unknown. They discovered a resilience they never knew they possessed, a strength born of adversity that enabled them to rebuild their lives piece by piece. While the Pascagoula encounter remained a defining moment in their lives, they refused to let it define them. They continued to live their lives with a quiet dignity, their experiences serving as a reminder that the human spirit, though capable of profound suffering, is also capable of remarkable resilience. The physical evidence associated with the Pascagoula encounter remained shrouded in ambiguity, fueling endless debate and speculation. The lack of concrete proof fueled skepticism, providing ammunition for those who dismissed Parker and Hickson's claims. For believers, the scant physical traces were tantalizing hints of something extraordinary. Indentations found near the site were said to be from the landing legs of the alien craft. However, these indentations proved inconclusive upon closer examination. Their irregular shape and the soft ground made mundane explanations possible. Much of the evidence was lost or compromised in the chaotic aftermath. The site was overrun by onlookers, journalists, and UFO enthusiasts. Footprints, trampled potential evidence, and flashbulbs contaminated the scene. Doctors found no definitive injuries on Parker and Hickson. Both men reported strange symptoms like nausea and headaches. These symptoms could not be definitively linked to the encounter. With physical evidence proving scarce, the Pascagoula case relied on Parker and Hickson's eyewitness accounts. Their testimony, detailed in interviews and affidavits, was compelling but inconsistent. Discrepancies in their descriptions of the beings fueled skepticism. Yet, proponents argued their overall consistency on major details outweighed minor differences. Section 3. The Polygraph Results. Truth or trauma? Investigators turned to the polygraph, a controversial tool, to determine the veracity of Parker and Hickson's claims. The polygraph measures physiological responses, heart rate, blood pressure, and respiration to detect deception. Both Parker and Hickson agreed to undergo polygraph examinations. The tests were conducted in a controlled environment by experienced examiners. The results deepened the mystery surrounding the Pascagoula encounter. Parker's responses were consistent with someone being truthful. His physiological responses remained stable, suggesting he believed his account. Hickson's results were more ambiguous. His responses were erratic, indicating anxiety and stress. The examiner classified Hickson's results as inconclusive. The polygraph results added another layer of intrigue, leaving the truth out of reach. The Pascagoula encounter, despite intense scrutiny and public debate, remains resistant to easy categorization. What truly transpired on the banks of the Pascagoula River that October night remains unanswered. The passage of time has only amplified its mystique, transforming it into a cultural touchstone. The central enigma is the nature of the beings themselves. Who or what were the strange humanoid figures Parker and Hickson described? Were they extraterrestrial visitors, or something else entirely? Beings that defy our current understanding of biology, physics, and reality itself? Their behavior, as recounted by Parker and Hickson, deepens the mystery. They exhibited a strange mixture of curiosity and detachment. Their ability to paralyze and levitate their victims suggests advanced technology. Yet they left no lasting physical evidence, their visit as ephemeral as a dream. The lack of definitive answers underscores our vast ignorance. The universe is a place of infinite possibilities where the laws of physics may be bent or broken. The Pascagoula encounter becomes a profound meditation on the limits of human perception. The Pascagoula encounter, often categorized as a UFO sighting or alien abduction, defies easy categorization. With its lack of conclusive evidence and reliance on subjective experiences, it occupies a space between the known and the unknown. This ambiguity invites us to consider a range of possibilities, each more intriguing and unsettling than the last. One possibility is that Parker and Hickson were indeed abducted by beings from another planet. The universe is teeming with planets, many of which may harbor conditions suitable for life. Some of these planets may have given rise to intelligent civilizations capable of visiting our own planet. Another possibility is that the beings were inhabitants of a parallel dimension, existing alongside our own. Theoretical physics posits the existence of a multiverse, a vast tapestry of interconnected universes. These beings could be interdimensional, manifesting in ways that defy our understanding of physics and consciousness. They would operate outside the constraints of space and time, their motives unfathomable to us. The Pascagoula encounter reminds us of the limitations of our knowledge and the vastness of the unknown. It challenges us to expand our horizons and approach the mysteries of the universe with humility and wonder. The Pascagoula encounter remains an unsolved mystery, capturing the human imagination. Whether believed or dismissed, it has left an indelible mark on our cultural landscape, shaping perceptions of the unknown. For Parker and Hickson, it was life-altering, bringing both fame and ridicule. Their unwavering belief in their experience resonates with many. The encounter shaped public perception of UFO phenomena. It solidified the alien abduction narrative in popular culture. The Pascagoula encounter inspires wonder, reminding us of the universe's mysteries.